Hi, this is Jessica Bowman with SEOinhouse.com, and we have Patrick Vinsler with Pro Flowers. So Patrick is the SEO manager there, and we're really excited because he's going to give us some insight on things you need to be thinking about as an in-house SEO. So the first question I have for you, Patrick, is what do executives need to know? So when we look at kind of that C-suite or the VP level and above, what do they need to know about SEO in order to create a pro SEO culture?
I think that probably the biggest thing is just familiarity with technology. I mean, particularly for organizations that are not necessarily technology based. Your brick and mortar, your click and mortar, going on into the internet. I mean, executives need to understand technology because SEO is so technologically integrated into what we do, and so it's important that they understand the inherent nature of how SEO gets implemented throughout the organization. And I think that comes down to a lot of evangelism. Right,
so it's important that you know how it gets implemented and maybe also how SEO needs to be integrated into the project so that it can be properly implemented on every single project. So if that's what they need to know, what do they need to do? So I find that actually getting executive buy-in isn't the problem. That's usually pretty easy to build the business case. But once you have that, sometimes it still doesn't happen. What do you think executives need to actually do to make things happen for SEO?
I think that particularly if you have an organization where there's a marketing department with several channels, just understand that when you look at marketing as a whole, SEO has inherent needs that other channels might not. So, for example, most channels actually do more on the outside of the business. So you're working with external vendors, you're depending on contingencies outside of the business to get things done, whereas SEO is very in-house, or it's very in focused, and so you need to be able to, I think, provide a workflow or a process or approve time to get things done. Because one of the biggest problems that SEOs have is, or not rather have, but rather one of the things that SEO's biggest challenges is getting things done within the organization. So I think being understanding of that and providing a track for SEO to get things done internally is probably the biggest thing that they can do.
Yep. And when you say track, like a swim lane for development?
Yeah, I mean, like, you got, typically organizations have waterfall or they'll have an agile, and you're gonna be in a part of that process. And you're going to be prioritized against everything else that's getting done. So I've heard of companies that do have dedicated lanes for SEO, and when you have that, it's great because you're able to keep up with the changes that are occurring in the industry that it's so important to be a part of.
Absolutely. So I think the big takeaway here is management. Take a look at your budget, take a look at your resources. And the companies that really are doing best-in-class SEO, they have dedicated SEO resources that the SEO team is able to prioritize the project. So go out and identify how can we create our own swim lane, or if you're an agile, your own pod, where the SEO team controls the prioritization of projects.